The global narrative about the Philippines is broken. For decades, international headlines have reduced this archipelago of over 7,000 islands and 110 million people to a series of tired clichés: poverty, struggle, chaos, third world status. It's the version of the Philippines that the world expects to see, a backdrop for hardship. When I booked my trip, I admit, I carried that bias. I expected scenes of widespread struggle, crumbling infrastructure, and a palpable sense of despair. But the moment I stepped outside the airport, the truth hit me with the force of a Manila summer storm. Everything I thought I knew was instantly obsolete. What I saw wasn't a nation defined by scarcity, but a dynamo fueled by relentless ambition. The drive from the airport took me directly into Bonifacio Global City, and I was genuinely speechless. Here were glass and steel towers piercing the sky, architecturally rivaling any major metropolitan hub in Asia or the West. Luxury cars whispered down wide, clean avenues. People weren't trudging along, they were striding with a confidence that spoke of high-value careers and global connectivity. World-class malls, featuring every major international brand, stood packed with young, digitally fluent Filipinos. I realized the global narrative was a century out of date. The Philippines is not poor. It is a developing giant caught in a narrative paradox, a country that has been quietly rebuilding itself into a regional powerhouse. This isn't just a cosmetic shift in the capital. This economic vitality is rooted into unstoppable forces: demographics and dedication. The Philippines has one of the youngest and fastest-growing populations in Asia, boasting a massive demographic dividend. This means millions of young, educated, English-speaking Filipinos are entering the workforce every year, ready to build, innovate, and consume. They aren't waiting for the world to catch up. They are driving the transformation themselves. The energy is palpable, a mix of old-world hospitality filtered through new-world technology. This contrast between the outdated stereotype and the soaring reality is the single most shocking thing about the modern Philippines. To truly understand this country, you must look beyond the poverty headlines and examine the engine driving this profound, ongoing renaissance.
The engine driving this growth isn't manufacturing, it's human capital. The Philippines has become the world's undisputed capital for voice-based services and the BPO or business process outsourcing industry. These aren't low-wage factory jobs. These are high-tech, 24-hour operations spanning customer service, legal services, medical transcriptions, and advanced IT support. These shining towers are not banks, they are call centers, staffed by millions of the most articulate, adaptable, and empathetic professionals on the planet, contributing billions to the economy every single year. This industry is a testament to the country's colonial linguistic heritage being transformed into a powerful economic asset. The second colossal economic force is the diaspora. The overseas Filipino worker, or OFW population, isn't just a flow of workers. It's the largest continuous stream of remittances in Southeast Asia, acting as a permanent stimulus package. These modern heroes, working in hospitals, cruise ships, and construction sites worldwide, send home billions, fueling the immense construction boom, funding local entrepreneurs, and supporting the consumer culture I witnessed in the high-end malls. The OFW is the ultimate symbol of Filipino resilience, sacrificing proximity to family for collective prosperity. Their success abroad directly manifests as the rising skyline at home. This is wealth generated not by natural resources, but by pure human effort and love of family. But the progress is even more granular than skyscrapers and remittances. The true revolution is happening online. Young Filipinos, the so-called digital discard generation, are bypassing traditional barriers to entry. They are leveraging global platforms as digital artists, game developers, social media managers, and specialized freelancers commanding global rates while working from provincial centers. This democratization of opportunity means that wealth generation is no longer confined to Manila. The economy is decentralizing, allowing provinces to grow and retain their best talent. This burst of youthful, digital entrepreneurship is what truly sets the current growth cycle apart from previous, infrastructure-only booms. This isn't just development, it's a socio-economic transformation powered by a laptop and a Wi-Fi signal.
To fully appreciate the reality of the Philippines, you must look past the economic figures and focus on the cultural wealth. This is where the country truly shines and renders the label poor meaningless. The greatest asset of this nation is its unparalleled human spirit. I found this wealth in the effortless, genuine hospitality. As a stranger, I was welcomed into homes, offered food, and treated with a warmth that was disarmingly sincere. This wasn't a performance, it was the cultural norm, rooted in the concepts of pakikisama, shared experience, and utang na loob, debt of gratitude. This human connection is the foundation of Filipino society, a resource far more valuable than gold or oil. The legendary Filipino resilience is not just about rebuilding after a typhoon. It's a daily, spiritual practice. The resilience you witness here isn't stoicism. It's often expressed through joy as a form of resistance. Filipinos are famous for singing karaoke, dancing during fiestas, and laughing in the face of adversity. This deep-seated ability to find happiness, even when life presents profound challenges, is their ultimate defense mechanism and their greatest national strength. They sing through the pain. They celebrate the small victories. This fierce optimism prevents the social contract from fraying, acting as a psychological anchor during times of crisis. This optimism is deeply intertwined with faith. Religion, particularly Catholicism, permeates the culture, providing a robust spiritual framework that encourages hope and collective action. This collective faith is the fuel for Bayanihan, the community spirit where neighbors spontaneously band together to help one another without question or expectation of reward. This social fabric, this cultural wealth, is what allows the nation to endure and quickly rebound from any economic or natural disaster. You can't quantify this wealth on a stock exchange, but it is the true source of the nation's power. It is the reason the Philippines, despite its very real problems, never breaks.
Now, we must confront the paradox of progress. To claim the Philippines is only skyscrapers and smiles would be as dishonest as the old headlines claiming only poverty. The shock of Manila is amplified by the extreme wealth disparity that exists side by side with the luxury. Modern BGC stands feet away from sprawling, often forgotten communities. The Philippines is a story of two nations coexisting: the rising economic power and the struggling underclass. The challenge is not just growth. It is inclusive growth. This disparity is most visible in the failure of infrastructure. The famous Manila traffic is a direct consequence of decades of underinvestment, a symbol of growth outpacing the basic systems needed to support it. Internet speeds and power grid reliability in remote provinces still lag behind, creating economic friction for the very digital entrepreneurs who are driving change. These are the real, systemic challenges that the rising generation is fighting to solve. The global perception of poverty persists precisely because these gaps are so starkly visible. Foreign media often focuses on the slums because they offer the most dramatic visual narrative, conveniently ignoring the fact that vast swathes of the country are stunning, modern, or rich in natural beauty like Palawan and Siargao. The negative stereotype is easier to sell than the nuanced reality. It's a classic case of selective reporting perpetuating an outdated, colonial-era image. However, the key difference today is the direction of travel. Previous generations accepted the status quo, often choosing to leave as OFWS. The new generation is demanding change from within. They are staying, investing their digital earnings locally, challenging corrupt systems, and building businesses that prioritize social impact. They aren't trying to escape the country. They're actively working to transform the parts of the country that have been left behind. This internal momentum is the strongest indicator that the poverty paradox is slowly, painstakingly being resolved. The story of the Philippines is not about having been poor and finally catching up. It is about a nation that has always been rich in its potential and spirit, now finally unlocking its economic power. The progress we see today is a fusion of that cultural wealth, the discard, the Bayanihan, the unbreakable joy with the massive demographic and technological advantage it now holds. This nation is not just growing, it is poised for a generational leap, often referred to by economists as the next great economic story in Asia. The Philippines is becoming a crucial hub for the entire ASEAN region, a major player in global supply chains, and a cultural exporter of immense influence. From its food to its music to its unique style of English communication, the time for the old narrative is over. When people call the Philippines poor, they reveal their own blindness to the true forces shaping the modern world. They fail to recognize that true wealth is measured not just in GDP, but in the strength of a national character that refuses to be defeated. To everyone watching this, let this be the final word on the matter. Never let an outdated headline define your perception. Go, see the glass towers, yes, but also stop and talk to the street vendor, share a laugh with a taxi driver, and feel the genuine, effortless warmth of the people. Only then will you understand that the Philippines is rich in the most profound sense of the word. It is rich in resilience, in humanity, and in an unstoppable future. The reality didn't just shock me, it humbled me, and it should humble the world. It is time for the world to stop calling the Philippines poor and start recognizing it for the economic and cultural giant it is rapidly becoming.